found out is that the guards actually take the girls and traffic them to the lifers. Because, like they say, you bring a bitch around, then you could calm down a nigga. You know what I'm saying? So when they put me there, then that's when it just ended up being a really bad nightmare.
I was in men's prison for 5 years, and I made the men that I was incarcerated with my bitch. For everybody that's new here, my name is Casey. I'm a 30-year-old trans woman that did 5 years in men's prison in Ohio. Let's talk about this. I was sentenced by Judge Michael Ader in Ohio, and when I was being sentenced, he told me that I was going to fall victim to predators because I was pretty and I was trans, and that he hoped that that would teach me a lesson. Little did Judge Michael Ader know that from a very young age, I have learned or gained this ability to manipulate men and to utilize the things that I have to get what I need. And I know that that sounds horrible, but it is true. So whenever I went into prison, I really was not even worried about it. And very quickly, I learned that my stay in prison was going to be okay. It was going to be great, and I was going to be treated like a queen. And did I do horrible things to some of the men I was incarcerated with? Yes, I did. And I do feel bad about it. But at the end of the day, ultimately, I was trying to survive, and I did not let the Ohio prison system play me. I played it very fucking well, and I fucking won. And anybody that I was incarcerated with can tell you that I was that bitch. I was that bitch on that compound, and it just is what it is. I did not carry my own grocery bags. I did not carry my own locker box. I did not make my own bed. I did not do my own dishes. I did not do my own laundry, and I did not pay for shit because I had a roster of men that were dying to fucking do it, and I let them do it. I was the fucking pay pig queen before people even knew what pay pigging was, and I did it in prison. I can't stress to you enough that prison was not like a vacation. Did I have fun? Absolutely. Did I learn my lesson? Of course I did. Look at my life now. I've been out for years, and I'm living my very best life. I'm successful. I'm sober. I'm married. I'm happy. I'm living a good life. But I also know that one thing that Judge Ader does not believe in is rehabilitation. We know that because of his cocaine habit. He simply believes in corrections, and he thinks anybody that gets sent to prison is trash and they're going to be stuck in the system, and that is what he hopes for you. And I have since run into him when I was working in politics in Ohio. I ran into him many times, and it kills him to know that I have reached the level of success that I have reached, and that prison did not break me. It did not break me. As a matter of fact, I tore that whole fucking system up, and I made it work for me. And I had the time of my life. Did I fuck up a couple times and get super attached to some of my marks? Yes, I did. I even let one of them break my fucking heart into pieces. But ultimately, I had a good time. I lived a life that I can't even explain to you, the way that I had these men taking care of me and just wanting my time. Ultimately, prison is a very lonely place, and people want affection. Being a trans woman and a passable trans woman, I was able to use that to my advantage, along with things that I learned from working on the streets. And I got what I needed. I got more than I needed, and I left prison learning a lot of great lessons, but also knowing that I am not weak, I am strong, and I can control and succeed any situation that I end up in. I love you so much, besties. I hope you have the best day.
Found out is that the guards actually take the girls and traffic them to the lifers because, you know, like they say, you bring a bitch around, then you could calm down a nigga. You know what I'm saying? So when they put me there, then that's when it just ended up being a really bad nightmare.
Okay. You were sexually assaulted?
Yeah, it was repeatedly. You know, it was like, it's like no other. It was powerless. How do you be locked in a cell and it's bars, you know, and you can't get out?
My name is Renee Martinez, also known as Mousy, and I'm 30 years old. I've been doing time since I was about 15. I'm from a gang called Glanto on 14th Street. I've been arrested for carjacking with a gun, assault with a deadly weapon, assault, prostitution.
You put all gay men together, they are going to have sex, and it's like a bathhouse down there.
They call this a lower bunk. When you have two of them pushed together, it's called the Cadillac bunk. This particular bunk is mine and my boyfriend's.
It still is a violation of the law. If you have sex in jail, you will be prosecuted.
Another queen had said something to me in the chow hall, disrespectful. I waited for her at the end of the hallway. When she came around the hallway, I knocked her out. Unfortunately, there's cameras in the hallway, so they came and gaffled me up, and I went to the hole for quite a few days. Well, I'm gonna show you how to make a liner that you can paint on your eyebrows with. Number 2 pencil, you just pat it like that. I darken my eyebrows and my lips because they're tattooed on, but the ink looks green, so I just darken over it every day. I mean, it's the best you can get for being in here. I prefer MAC, but I can't get that right now.
While in prison, many trans folks go through intense gender dysphoria as a result of not having adequate access to gender-affirming products and appropriate healthcare. Can you tell us what this experience was like for you?
For me, being in there, like the facial hair is what killed me. Yeah. Not being able to do my eyebrows is what killed me. They got bushy. Like just the hair was killing me alone, right? Sometimes when I used to grow facial hair, I used to shave like 2 or 3 times a day. I used to hate the 5 o'clock after shadow. Not being able to have that type of access on a daily, that's what really puts a person in a dysphoric state about themselves. I stayed away from the mirrors until I got in the razor and I was able to like shave my face and do my eyebrows, shave my legs, and at least breathe again. The worst of the worst about it is like when you're going through it and like the inmates are challenging you on your identity. In your head, like you know how you are presenting, but in reality, you're here with like this full beard on, you know, bushy eyebrows, and they're like, well, look at you.
Yeah.
And you can't really fight that fact because you can't, it kills, you know. Yeah.
I was put in prison because I'm a transgender woman, but now I'm free. I went with another trans woman. We're having dinner, and then police cops, they came down, they stood in front of us and asked us our national identity card. As a transgender woman, I don't usually work my ID because what I portray is not what you're going to see on my ID. After then, they asked us to follow them. We got into the car, and the commissioner asked me, are you Shakiro? I said, yes, I'm Shakiro. He said he's going to send me to jail. I immediately asked him, why? Why are you going to send me to jail? He said, don't you know what you're doing? You are an abomination. You are spoiling the youth. You are spoiling children. All of the stuff you publish on your social media platforms. I remember the day I was sentenced to 5 years imprisonment. I almost collapsed. I was sentenced because of attempted homosexuality and public indecency. That was the charges against me. You are like surrounded. I was traumatized. They said they are going to harm me. I had to leave Cameroon because if I was in Cameroon by this time, I would have been dead. That is sure. That's the fact. So I had to run for my life. It's absolutely incredible to be in Belgium. Look at the way I'm standing on the road. People are just admiring me. They are smiling. My greatest aspiration in life would be to become a lawyer to defend all the sexual minorities around the world, especially in Africa. What I want, like, is for all the countries in the world to decriminalize homosexuality. Love is love, like between two consenting people. Love is love. Black trans lives matters.
And those of y'all that's like, what is a panty check? What is a panty check? Okay, let me tell you what a panty check is. When I first came to prison, I didn't know what a panty check is. A panty check is when trade or like niggas, they be standing posted like the motherfucking police. Like they guards, bitch. Like they waiting for the girls to walk through. So you might be tipping and you see trade standing there, and these just be random niggas. You might not know these niggas or nothing like that, and they just gonna run up on you like, what's up, man? What's up, little mom? You got panties on? You got panties? You like, huh? Bitch, let me see them panties. And you gonna be scared because these is regular niggas. Goals, tattoos, crazy. They might have a knife on them. And bitch, you better have panties on. If you don't, they'll be done like knock you out, cuss you out. But the first time they did it to me, it was two niggas I never get. One name was Savage and one was like Pat. They was from like gangs, but one had a mouthful of goals and one had tattoos in his face. And I was like, and they was like, damn, little mom, you just got her, bitch. You better have panties. I'm like, panties? Panties? They was like, yeah, let me see the panties, bitch. You better. And they on me like, bitch. They on me like, bitch. What's up? You better. I'm like, ah, I was just going crazy, bitch. Why I had boxers on, bitch? When I say them niggas grabbed me by them boxers, bitch, and my feet was dangling, bitch. When I say I had, bitch. When I say, bitch, I was pulling them drawers out my ass for about 2 weeks, bitch. That's how hard the niggas. Bitch, when I say you ain't have to never worry about me wearing boxers again. But yes, girl, if you are considered a girl in prison, bitch, you have to wear drawers. They make them out of t-shirts, jock straps, everything. But if you wasn't considered no bad bitch or no, you wasn't considered no bad bitch. If you had boxers, they would consider you a boy. They could beat you up for that. Like, them niggas is crazy.
I was diagnosed with PTSD after being released from my 5-year sentence in men's prison. Let's talk about some of the lifelong psychological effects that I will have to deal with since being released from prison. Being in men's prison was extremely traumatic for me as a trans person. Being in prison as any kind of person in general is extremely traumatic. I know, obviously, it's not supposed to be a vacation, but a lot of the things that the staff will put you through really just fucks with your mental. And in my case, it did land me with a PTSD diagnosis. There are a lot of things that I still struggle with today. I, to this day, cannot stand to hear the sound of keys jingling or clinking together. In prison, guards would clank their keys extremely loud, and they have these big keys that go to what they call crash gates, which lock everybody in. They would jangle these keys, or if they were mad about something or they just wanted to show off, they would take the keys and smash them against the edge of metal bunks or against doors. And I just have a shiver that goes up my spine every time I hear the clanking of keys. It really sends me to a place that I don't like to be in. Something else that's extremely triggering for me, if I am out in public, let's say on the beach or at a theme park, and somebody is running and they run past me, I absolutely can't deal with that. In prison, you are constantly worrying about who's behind you, what they're doing, what they're planning. And typically, if somebody's running up to you in prison, it's because they're about to take off on you. So out on the streets today, if somebody runs past me or they run up to me, I will definitely kind of withdraw, and I feel this urgency. My fight or flight instincts kick in, because I'm just not used to that. In prison, running only means something bad, and that is just stuck in my head after spending 5 years in prison. I also really struggle with loud noises, so any kind of fireworks or booms, gunshots, things falling, it just trips me out. I absolutely can't deal with loud noises. I was never a skittish person before I went to prison. I ran the streets and did all kinds of crazy things and never thought twice about it, but all of the psychological warfare that was placed against me and my fellow inmates by the correction officers has really left me with an inability to deal with the most basic of noises that happen in everyday life. I've always been quite the social butterfly, and previously to being incarcerated, I was never scared or uncomfortable in large groups at things like concerts or fairs. But now, when I'm in large groups, I find myself extremely uncomfortable. I become very claustrophobic. It's just a very uncomfortable situation for me. And then, of course, there's small, simple things as well. If I'm out with a group of people and we're going into a restaurant or a store to go shopping, I find it nearly impossible to be the first person to walk through the door. In prison, you never know what's lurking at the edge of the door where you can't see. And to this day, I really struggle with walking through the threshold or a doorway as the first person. It just sends me. I also find it extremely hard to deal with small children. Previously, I had always pictured myself as a mother. I always wanted to be a mother. I wanted to be a nurturer. And I still do have very strong maternal instincts, but I also have extremely low patience. The sound of children screaming or running or just having fun is extremely disruptive to me. And I know, of course, kids will be kids and we want them to have fun, but it's very triggering to my PTSD. And I think that that just comes from the amount of constant commotion that would go on in prison. When you're in prison, it is never truly quiet. You're surrounded by thousands of people. Whether you're in a cell or an open dorm, there is constant noise, chaos, action, fights, and that commotion really is very similar to that of what a small child creates. I know that that sounds terrible, but it's true. Something else that I have a really hard time with, if somebody's walking and the rubber sole of their shoe makes that like scuff, screechy sound, I freeze. Anytime you heard that kind of screeching scuff sound in prison, it was because somebody was throwing hands. Typically, if people were fighting, that meant that they were going to end up getting broken up by the police, which would lead to them being sprayed with mace. And if you were in the area at that time, you were also getting sprayed regardless of if you were fighting or not. Oftentimes, if there was a big fight going on in your unit, they would tell everybody to get on their bunks and they would just walk through and spray everybody while they were on their bunks. It was extremely terrible to deal with. I was always very good at dealing with multiple things at once and kind of taking things heads on. But since my release, I definitely find myself becoming overstimulated very easily. I've learned since being released from prison that I just need to slow down and try to take things one thing at a time. This will be something that I struggle with my entire life, and I know that there are numerous people who've been incarcerated that have been diagnosed with PTSD, and I can truly say that that just comes from the chaos, and unfortunately it comes from the mistreatment that you will endure as an inmate from correction officers. A lot of correction officers make it their #1 duty to remind you that you committed a crime and that they are in charge. I like to think that they have little dick syndrome, but I don't know. What do you think? I just wanted to kind of talk to you guys about some of the lifelong effects that people who are incarcerated could potentially be dealing with. My experience may not be the same as everyone else's experience, but I do know that prison is a very harsh environment. Like I said, it's not meant to be vacation, but I also don't think that people should be leaving with PTSD or a fear of walking through a door ahead of a group. I don't know. Just thought I would share with you guys. You guys are always asking me if I got into any fights while I was in men's prison. And the answer to that question is, fuck yes, I did. For those of you that are new here, my name is Casey. I'm a 29-year-old trans woman that did 5 years in men's prison in Ohio. I was in max security and medium security. But let's talk about these fights though. Now, remember, I was in those streets, baby, and I've always been a scrapper. Not so much in my later years, but in my early years, I used to put shit down. I know that everybody thinks that I'm super sweet, and I am. But the simple fact of the matter is, I was a queer kid that grew up in Central Ohio. I had to learn to fight, and I learned how to fight, baby. I don't know how many fights I got into in prison, but the number is up there. You can check my ticket record. Fact check. And I don't think that I'm the baddest bitch in the world, but I'll tell you this. Out of all of those fights, I only remember one time when I felt like the person got over on me. And these were grown men, baby. But I want to tell you about my most memorable prison fight. There was this guy, his name was Big Kev, and he was gang affiliated. Big Kev kept trying to holler at me, and I was not interested for real. I was booed up, and he just wasn't my speed. He was into too much shit. I'd been in prison for a while, and I was not trying to go down like that. This really upset him. He was constantly passing me letters. At this point, I was in medium security and we were in open dorms. So he was at the bunk across from me. He would stare at me, grope himself, try to slide me little gifts, and I just was not interested. Like I said, he was into too much shit. I'd been down too long and I didn't want any part of that. So he got in his feelings and decided to put a hit out on me. He had 3 guys come up to me on the yard, and I told them straight up, if you decide to jump, it's over for all of you. After I'd been in prison for a couple of months, very early into my prison sentence, people realized that I really was not that bitch to fuck with, because I was about that. I didn't care who you were, how big you were, I was going to give it my best. I had to prove myself. I was a pretty trans girl in what they called gladiator camp, a very violent prison in Ohio, and I needed to let people know, I'm not that bitch, you're gonna let me live peacefully. So, as the years progressed, people really didn't try me because they knew what was up, but Big Kev decided to get his flunkies in on it, and they had wild hair up their ass. They approached me on the yard. It was winter time. I knew what was up. I knew that he sent them because they were his flunkies. I saw those patches a mile away, baby. As soon as they walked up to me, I said, if you decide to jump, it's over with for all of you. We can go one-on-one behind the guard shack, but if you jump, I'm fucking you all up. They said, okay, we can go one-on-one. I said, okay. So the first boy that decided he wanted to fight went by Mouse. Mouse was this scrawny, nasty motherfucker. We started to square up, and the next thing I knew, all 3 of them were coming in. They decided that they wanted to test that jump theory. When I tell you I fucked all 3 of those men up, I fucked them up. I was gouging eyes, I was kicking nuts, I was stomping on throats, and the only thing that I left with was a broken thumb. Not a black eye, not a scratch, a broken thumb. I beat their asses. Before I'm anything in this world, I'm a smart bitch. I'd been keeping the letters that Big Kev had been sending me because I already knew how men played in the joint when they didn't get what they wanted. With him having a gang affiliation, I knew what was up. I decided to pass those letters to their enforcer. And I explained that he sent 3 of his flunkies to try to jump me, and they got their ass beat by a punk. For those of you that don't know, typically in prison, if somebody has an issue with a girl or a punk, they are not going to take that up with the girl. They're going to take that up with their man. So that right there was an issue with their bylaws. But when they read these letters from Big Kev and realized that I had been trying to duck him the whole time, they decided it was time to bleed him out. That is my most memorable prison fight. The time that I actually beat the fuck out of 3 men who thought they were going to jump, and then had to have them bleed out the harebrained scheme motherfucker that decided to put the hit out. I love you guys.
Hey everyone, I've just been released from Cardiff Bay Prison. On to bigger and better things now, as you can see. I am never going back there. When E-Liquid and Vicky will do you in.
So I didn't even get a chance to say goodbye to him. I didn't get a chance to say nothing to him. They basically just whisked me out. I tried to tell one somebody I was cool with on the thing, tell Brandon, I'm gonna talk to him, I'm gonna find a way to talk to him later, this and the third. So like I said, I'm still kind of not knowing what's going on because they're not telling me anything. So when I guess I said the PC, the CEO lady, the one that originally gave me the jumper, see her, she comes to talk to me and she basically was like, oh, you and Brandon, they saw you on camera. Other inmates saw y'all too. They said that y'all went in the shower. We viewed the cameras. We saw y'all in the shower, this and the third. I'm like, we was in the shower cleaning together. We didn't even do nothing because we honestly didn't even do nothing. I didn't even get a chance to do nothing. So I'm like, we was in the shower. We didn't even do nothing. She's like, yeah, but it's on camera, this and the third. And they were saying that y'all be messing around, this and the third. So I'm like, oh my fucking God. So I'm like, how long am I supposed to be in PC for? So she was basically giving 30 days. So I'm like, 30 days, mind you, PC, in this particular jail in PC, it is 22 hours in your cell, 1 hour out during the day, 1 hour out at night. I'm too much of a social person to be in, oh my God, I did not mean to do that. I'm too much of a social person to be in PC, so PC was just not the vibe for me. So at this point, that was the first day I cried in jail. And I didn't cry because I was in jail. I just cried because I'm just like, oh my fucking God, it was so fucking boring. Bitch, it was nobody. Well, it was people in PC, but you couldn't really see them. And the times I did see them, they was out. They let us all out by ourselves separately. So when they was coming out, I was just in the cell just looking at them out. So we all just was never just out together. So it was just boring as SF. And one thing about jail was being out on the tiers is what makes time go by fast. So that's why I never minded being in jail. So it's just I'm going to always have fun. Spades, Monopoly, whatever. You got to make the best of it. So I was at PC for a week. During that time, I was over my lace. I started taking my braids out so the sewing can come out. This is when I used to always get my hair sewed in. Take my lace so my sewing can come out. I'm basically just ready to get out. I didn't even stay in PC the whole 30 days. I got out 2 weeks later. My mama got me out this and the third. So the rule is, as soon as you get out of jail, you can't see an inmate for at least 2 weeks. Y'all know 2 weeks later I was up there seeing my man. Yes, I was. See, he only saw me in jail. I had to come and show him what I give outside of jail. So, I come bundled, beat, designer. I come there, da-da-da. So he just smiled all the shit behind the glass. Yo, you look good. This, the third. He always felt like I look good, but it was now he see me outside of jail. Now you see what I get into. So we kind of kept this up. I was coming to see him this and the third. The thing was, he kept lying about when he was coming home. He kept saying he was coming home right after me. I got out in August of 2017. Y'all wanna know when he got out? The end of last year, 2022. You kept telling me you were about to come home and you knew you about to come home. So you try to like manipulate me into keep coming to see you and keep putting money on the phone, this and the third. Like, no, that's just not going to work for me. It's just not going to work for me. I'm sorry. And it wasn't that I didn't like him, just like that. It was just like, I was so into him in jail. I was ready for our life outside of jail. Love after lockup. But it was like, you just kept lying about when you was coming home. So even when he did come home, he reached out like, I'm out, what's up, this and that. I'm like, boy, so much time done already passed. Like, I don't even like, come on, like, I don't even look at, like, it's not even those types of same vibes. But, yeah, that's pretty much just how, jail went. I feel like no trans girl should ever be scared to go to jail. If you cute, you have nothing to worry about. Even if you're not cute, you still ain't really got nothing to worry about. So for me, overall, jail has never been like a bad experience for me. I've never had like I said, I've been like a few times, even prior to me transitioning. Like I said, I used to be a booster back in the day. So, I got caught stealing a few times. So jail has never been a place that like kind of like bothered me or scared me because I started going to jail when I was a juvenile. So I already knew kind of like what to expect. But at this day and age now, jail is just like, I don't know, as a trans person in jail, you really just have fun. Like, you really literally just have fun because at the end of the day, I feel like transsexuals are very interesting. Just how can you look like that when you are that or born as that? Whatever. The science behind trans people is just really interesting. So I think that's why a lot of people be like so fascinated with it, whatever kiss me heavy. But that was my jail experience. If you know you're about to go to jail, just don't cry. Just fix your hair. Make sure you got legs showing and just be ready to start the party because that's exactly what happened, bitch. The party was started.
I need to get in contact with him. And I tried to keep in contact with him and wrote him and stuff like that, but he was really crazy. He was from Miami. He was really fine. He had a bunch of money too because everybody on the compound used to be going crazy about him as far as like all the other gang members. They used to like worship him. Like, I don't know who he is in Miami, honey, but he was somebody important because he had coins. Even in the box, he used to send me stuff and all types of stuff like that. I kept in contact with him, and he told me, like, oh, when you get out, I want to be with you. Oh, come to South Beach. I'm going to get your body done. I need to find him because he told me he was going to get my body done and everything, and how he was going to take care of me, how he got his own businesses down there. He was, like, older than me. He was, like, 34, 35 at the time. But, yeah, I need to find him. Y'all, the only way I was able to like beat the charges, I had to like literally play the victim. Like when they first came out, I was like, oh, he admitted because he admitted to poking me. So I was like, oh, bitch, I'm the victim here. I don't know what happened. I don't know why. They was like, so y'all wasn't in a relationship now. I'm like, no, it was like a random act of violence. Like he just targeted me. I feel like it was like it was like a hate crime, whatever case may be, and I need protection, I need help, whatever case may be. So it's like, we're going to get to the bottom of it. So being that I played the victim role, it was like, oh, he attacked me out of nowhere. It was like a random act of violence, whatever. It was just, like I was targeted, whatever case may be. They didn't really pursue no charges or anything like that. I ended up getting transferred though. They ended up sending me out of that institution, and it was like, thank you, like everything really worked out. It was like, I wasn't even mad that I got put no more because I was like, oh my God, thank God I love. What's so crazy is the boy ended up coming from the hospital. He was in confinement with us. I ended up going to his door to take a shower. While he was through the door screaming my name, then he like, I'm so sorry. I love you. And I was like, boy, fuck you. I was cussing myself, I was telling him, and he was like, man, I'm sorry, man. It ain't supposed to happen like that. He had all these patches, like bandages and stuff. He was like, man, it wasn't supposed to happen like that, man. I swear to God, man. I'm sorry, man. I was like, boy, please go get transferred, honey. Start over at a new institution.
So how do y'all feel about trans women being in men facilities?
I think that puts a target on this person's back. Absolutely. Like, they're going to be highly susceptible to just awful things, and I really think that they should. I don't know if they're already doing
might have
this,
a ball.
Right.
We don't know.
I really hope they have a special, a separate place for people like this, honestly. Because I don't know if you guys know Nikita Dragon. Yeah, Nikita Dragon is a transgender woman who she had got arrested and they put her in the male facility. Oh my God. But like they put her in the male facility at first, and she like literally let them know, like, you guys, I'm uncomfortable in here. Like, I don't want anything to happen to me. So they did transfer her to like more of a private area in the male facility. Yeah. But nonetheless, that's where she was, and she was uncomfortable, So I know like the justice system hasn't really updated with the way things are going.
I totally feel that they should have some level of protection and some level of separation. Hey y'all, my name is Avery, and I'm just gonna do a quick little story time about how I decided to be funny and use the guy's restroom as a trans woman. So I kept seeing all these videos about how, like, you know, Donald Trump wanted us to use the guy's restroom. You know, they're trying to kick us out the girls' restrooms. And so I'm like, okay, let me give the world what they want. And so I decide to walk into the guy's restroom. And mind you, I'm at a mall, so there's bound to be people in there. I walk in, it's a bunch of guys. It seems to be like a friend group or whatever. Some of them were in ski masks, some of them weren't wearing ski masks. I'm low-key scared for my life. Like, I'm literally scared for my life. And so they all look at me weird and they're like, why are you in the guy's bathroom? And I'm like, oh, because the girls' one was like full or whatever. And so they're like, you still shouldn't be in the guy's restroom, you know, questioning me, asking me why I'm in here, why am I in here? And so then the homeboy like whisper over to his homeboy, and I'm like, what the fuck are you whispering? Like, and so then they're like, yo, are you a tranny? I'm like, trans? No, what are y'all talking about? I just came in here because the girls' restroom was full. They're like, stop lying, you're a tranny, da 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 da. And so the guy had like started walking up to me or whatever, like as he was trying to like he was trying to do something or something, I don't know. And I was not playing that, so I exited myself from the situation very, very, very quickly, because yeah, I'm not about to be on the news today.